Okay, everybody, I'm gonna be doing a Dog's Life speedrun guide for you in case you are interested in picking up this game, thinking about speedrunning it. I should warn that it's really not the most fun game if you're, like, trying to increase your time and get world record or something, because it's only like a 15-minute run, but you really have to just grind it over and over again because it's so easy to lose time. But I do think that it would be pretty good for races and stuff, since, I mean, skill certainly factors in, but it would also be fun to just see where people are losing time. So first of all, what I do is I go into widescreen and I turn it off because, at least for my TV, it honestly makes it easier to see if I turn the widescreen feature off. So, I'm gonna go ahead and press start. I already have some files here. These are my backup saves, but I'm gonna be using this one, and I'm just gonna be starting a new game here. So, you're just gonna start a new game by pressing circle and then X. If you're new to the game, then you obviously won't have to do that. You'll just start a new game. Anyway, so you skip that first cutscene, you just press X there, skip right through it.
Oh,
Unfortunately,
my head.
you will have to watch
What
this
the-
every
Rah.
single time.
No, Daisy.
But if you've seen it as
Must
many times as I
rescue
have, then you start to
Daisy.
memorize it.
But
But how?
Hey, Jake, how's it hanging? Come on, I'll race you to the top of
So
the
yeah,
hill.
you just gotta sit through
brother.
this.
People are so insensitive. But I need to get back in shape if I'm gonna look for Daisy. Hold on to your pants. Here I come.
Alright, so hold right here, and you're going to press X once that little X appears in that dialog box. So once you're holding right, it's going to make him turn a little bit to the right there. So once this box comes up, you're just going to press X again, still holding right. We're just going to make our way down this hill. Not much you can do to really increase or decrease your time here. You're just going to be kind of running, taking the corners as tightly as you can. You can bark if you want. I like to bark sometimes. So you're going to the left here, up this hill, into the village houses. This is probably the shortest map in the entire game for a speedrun purpose. You just go over here. You can jump there if you want. Now, one thing in this game is that when you get close to curbs and stuff, Jake will automatically start to turn away from them, so I'll show how that goes. So I'm coming up to this curb, and see how he starts to turn away like that? So, you can't easily just run right up onto the curb because he kind of slows down there trying to turn with it. So, when you're coming from here, you're just going to run over here, and what I do is I just jump before he starts to turn away. Negates that. Alright, so this is going to be our first big skip of the game. So you want to come here to this dog parlor and press triangle. But you don't want to press triangle anywhere over there because you'll run into the scents while you're in smell-o-vision. And if you pick up a purple one, then you get this dialog
Purple
box.
Gets me a bone.
And
the more bones, the
you don't
better.
want that to go fast. So this is pretty tricky to set up. And really the only thing I can suggest is that you just grind it out as best as you can. There are actually a few ways to do it. One way involves, whoops, alright, well now you're going to get to see what happens if you go too far into the door. You get groomed, which automatically increases your health to 100%, and I'll explain health when I get to the next map.
I feel like a new dog.
But it's a 20-second cutscene, so it wastes a lot of time if you fall in there. So one way you can do it is you can go to the left side, set yourself up looking over here. Obviously you want to make sure you're not too far in the door or you'll get that cutscene. And you're supposed to like aim at the armchair where the armchair meets the couch, and then you do your little action maneuver and theoretically you'll just bounce backwards. But see, I just fell through the ceiling. So I don't do that one. What I do is I come up here on the right side, and I work myself forward a little bit. Not too far though. Then I look over here, work myself a little further again, look at the corner, work myself forward again a little bit, and then you look here, and you should be in a good spot where you can just kinda bump yourself against the wall. Don't bump too much in a row, or it'll actually start to push you backwards. Just kinda take it one bump at a time. Now this angle is pretty precise. I don't know if this is it, but I'm just gonna try it. So what you're going to do is you're going to do an action, and the one I do the most is on the D-pad you press left, right, left, and that's your shake command. Once you get up here, I'll explain it if I get it. Alright, so unfortunately I fell inside, which means that we're going to have to watch the cutscene again. So we're just going to go hit the trigger for it. Sometimes this is unavoidable. Obviously, if you're going for world record, you can't get this cutscene even once, and at least theoretically, you shouldn't fall out of the dog parlor either inside or on the outside. So I'm going to set this up again, one because I have to, and two because it's nice to show you how it works. So once we get up to the top, I should probably explain. Jake is going to pause for a second, then he's going to do a jump, and hopefully he will land on something solid. If he does land on something solid, then immediately start holding up on the control stick. Let's see if this is it. Alright, so that angle was not correct. So now I'll probably start editing out some of these mistakes until I get to the escape. So once again, we're just coming up here on the right, moving our way inward like this. And this setup is going to take a while, pretty much no matter what, unless you're like a robot. I feel like I'm too far in the door now, but I'll try it out. That was actually just about perfect. So, like I said, once you get onto that solid surface, then you just start holding up on the control stick, and it should boost you right through. Now, I've come through, and I'm in pretty good condition. You can see I'm still moving pretty fast. If you go through and you go too high or something, and you honestly can't affect that, then you'll be moving slower and you'll be in bad condition. So I'll explain that as soon as I get to the train. So you're just going to be coming around here, making your way over here. What I do is when I get about here, I turn right and go around that pole so that I can turn left and just jump in the train there. So I'll go ahead and show that off. It doesn't really save that much time, but it is nice to have a setup for the jump because it's honestly pretty tricky. So then you get on the train, and coming up is probably the biggest thing that I found for this game, which is that you can skip the cutscenes. And it's honestly really easy to do. You're just going to hold all 4 of the face buttons at once, but make sure that you press them when the cutscene starts. So you can't just start pressing them during the loading screen or anything. Alright, so coming into Mini Wawa, this is pretty straightforward, so I'll go ahead and explain what condition is. So I think you have like 4 conditions. There's good health, then there's decent, and then there's poor, and then there's like terrible. And when you're in poor and terrible, you just move really slow, and we definitely don't like that. So you can't die in this game, but you can take damage and it will slow you down. So we're going to jump over this fence here, and normally you're going to be in pretty bad condition here, so you'll just want to be jumping because it's faster than being slow. So you come up through this tunnel, now we're in the ski slopes, Now we're gonna go to the left here, jump over this
Pizza,
wall.
burger,
Dog
curry.
bowl right
What'll it
here
be today?
instantly brings you back to really good health. So now we're just gonna be climbing up this little hill here. This hill can be tricky because sometimes you'll come off at an angle weird and you'll take some damage, but it's weird. So you come in here. Now, if you're feeling daring, you can knock this box over. You need to have some momentum to knock it over. So then you can eat this pizza. Now, unfortunately, I got bad pizza. And that just depends from game to game. You want to grab this jacket. That's the main reason why we're in here. So, Jake, every time you start a new game, has certain foods that he's allergic to or something. But you can't tell until you eat that food. So getting that pizza, if it's good, it'll keep you in like really good condition for the entire duration of Mini Wawa. If it's bad, then unfortunately it's going to slow you down. So it's a gamble. I tend to take it. So like I said, we're grabbing that jacket, coming right back where we came from. Come to this hill. You can jump, hit this trigger.
My coat! Super! I guess those boys decided not to use it for their snowman.
Unfortunately,
after
this
all.
is another little cutscene that we can't skip.
Could you turn around while I put it on? Mom taught me never to get dressed in front of strangers.
Nice kid. Too bad she's 2 sandwiches short of a picnic.
Oh, that's nice and toasty. Thank you so much. Now, could you please help me track down my missing dog? I found his collar not far from here. Follow me.
So you can go ahead and run in front of her because we know exactly where she's gonna go. Just coming right over here. Unfortunately, I already pooped earlier because I didn't want Jake to be farting the entire way here.
Better out.
Normally I poop here and I just kind of throw the poop around just to kill some time. So anyways, we're gonna be running up here to meet her.
This is where I found my dog's collar. Then I saw this big
So
red
you can
truck
actually get
driving
a
away.
dialogue skip here, and I
Look out,
actually
doggy.
got it
That
a little
new
bit.
dog catcher.
I don't know how
They
it
ship
works though.
straight
You just
like
sort of
off to
run
Boom
towards her, and
City.
sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. So here, this is gonna seem counterintuitive. You're gonna press the X, and you're actually gonna run right into the dog. And we're gonna get caught. So basically, the reason we did all of that was to get the train to show up and to get the dog catcher and the dog into the position they need to be. I guess now I can show off I'm in pretty poor condition right now. So we're coming over here, and you're going to jump up on here, this platform, and now we're going to go up these stairs. And you can do this in normal 3D mode. I tend to prefer smell-o-vision for this. You just press triangle to go into smell-o-vision. So you're going to walk towards the train, and once you get to a certain distance, you'll be able to jump right onto it. And then you're just going to run along the top of the train. And once we get all the way on the right here, we're going to go down. I've jumped down instead of just walking off. There's another thing of food under this box here if you're in bad condition.
Flavorsome.
Sometimes that can be poison too, though, so I leave that to your own discretion. So that's Mini Wawa. It tends to be pretty consistent in time, as long as you do everything properly. The big thing there is that you want to make sure that you don't get too close to the dog or the dog catcher while you're on that train station platform. Another cutscene skip here. You want to make sure you're not close to the dog or the dog catcher while you're on the platform, or else it'll start a cutscene where Jake gets scared off by the dog and it wastes quite a few seconds.